They met, they talked, and today they wrap it up and leave. But what have the leaders of the G7 who met in Cornwall, England, actually accomplished? Look, part of this was just a reset of relationships. This is the first summit for U.S. President Joe Biden. So, of course, there was significantly more multilateral cooperation than during the Trump years. But COVID still topped the agenda. The G7 pledged to give 1 billion vaccines to the rest of the world, with Canada promising to donate 100 million. But what about vaccine passports or the two Michaels in China? Any details on those issues? Let's find out. Joining me now is CTV's senior political correspondent, Glenn McGregor. Glenn, what have been the big takeaways for Canada from this summit?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. This G7 is a much more collegial and cooperative affair compared to previous in-person meetings. That's in part because the U.S. is represented by Joe Biden, of course, and not Donald Trump. But there's also broad agreement on a lot of the major issues around the table concerning the pandemic, that commitment to supply 1 billion doses of vaccine to poorer nations, with Canada pledging 100 million. That's actually a combination of funding that's previously announced for the COVAX fund and through sharing surplus doses on order that won't be needed once everyone in Canada has had both their shots. But the leaders also reached an agreement to deal with future outbreaks, with the goal of developing diagnostic testing, treatments, and approving vaccines within 100 days of first detection. And part of that plan includes reforms to the World Health Organization, and in particular, how it deals with China, where the COVID outbreak began. A lot of criticism of WHO, how they handled that. China's detention of 2 Canadians was also discussed by leaders today, and in a brief one-on-one chat between Trudeau and U.S. President Joe Biden. As always, climate change also on the agenda here. Trudeau's been pushing the issue in each of his bilateral meetings with other leaders. And as we're in England, there's a royal presence here too. Trudeau had a virtual audience, a video chat with the Queen. He brought her up to speed on a couple of issues, domestic issues, including the ongoing process to choose a new Governor General, of course, her representative in Canada. This summit also kind of a goodbye of sorts for German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who's retiring from public life. She was, until now, effectively the dean of the G7. But once she leaves, Trudeau will be the longest serving leader, if he's still PM, when the G7 meets in Germany next year, Evan.
All right, Glenn, appreciate that. Thanks so much.